Now, for the latest on the ground, we cross live to Bilal Sarwari, an Afghan journalist in Kabul. Bilal, from patrols to checkpoints, what is the Taliban presence like in Kabul today?
Well, the Taliban have introduced their special forces in uniform to central parts of Kabul city. That includes the presidential palace. But we've also been able to see Taliban soldiers, performing the duties of policing of the streets. For example, they have been getting complaints called about individuals turning up at the gates asking for vehicles and weapons of former politicians and officials. So it will be, very difficult for these fighters, mostly from rural Afghanistan, who have been in the mountains to basically police the city with rocket-propelled grenades and heavy machine guns. But the Taliban are slowly and surely bringing some of the best trained fighters to keep law and order in the city. We also saw pictures of Anas Haqqani in Kabul meeting with Chairman Abdullah and with former President Hamid Karzai. The meeting took place in the residence of Dr. Abdullah. Anas was last in Kabul a few years ago when he was a prisoner in Bagram. He's the brother of Sirajuddin Haqqani, the deputy head of operations for the Taliban and the leader of the shared Haqqani network, which was a lethal part of the Taliban over the last 20 years, responsible for some of the most attacks in Kabul, including truck and car bombs. We are also beginning to see the Taliban on social media, appealing for anyone, to get in touch with Taliban police chiefs and other officials with their WhatsApp numbers if they were harassed, if they were threatened, if they felt any issues. That is happening, obviously, in the absence of Taliban political leadership. Who was in Kandahar. Mullah Biradar arrived on a Qatari Air Force plane. He was greeted by Taliban fighters. Then he went to the Mandigak Palace, which was a prevalent, feature of power over the last 20 years in Kandahar for the anti-Taliban, police chief General Razik and others there. So we will have to see once their leadership is in the capital, what next. There's talk of an inclusive government. There's talk of bringing in others into the equation.
Now, there have been reports of anti-Taliban protests in the city of Jalalabad on Wednesday. What do you know about that?
Well, these are, people who tried to down the Taliban flag, the white flag that represents the Islamic Emirate, and replaced it with black, green, and red. That was the Afghan flag, So I did see some footage of Taliban soldiers are opening fire into the air. There are reports of casualties, but we're not sure how many. We saw similar scenes, however peaceful, in the eastern province of Kunar, in the city of Asadabad, and also in southeastern Afghanistan, in the city of Khost. People came into the center of the city because the flag has a lot of emotional, value for a lot of Afghans. So we will have to see how all these details, emerge, like when the government is formed, what will be the color of the flag, for example, what will be the new changes, what will be the new changes to the constitution. I think this is a long and complicated road ahead when you talk about a possible political settlement.
Yes, and we will be covering those developments as they come in. Thank you, Bilal Sarwari, an Afghan journalist reporting live for us there from Kabul.